Hello and welcome to the Astro Vibe of the Week. I'm so grateful you're here. I am so happy to be here. The energy right now is nothing short of incredibly intense. I'd love to send not some, a lot of love and healing out to anyone right now who's experiencing suffering or loss. My heart and my mind are really with everyone who is in um, Asheville, North Carolina, and parts of Florida that have been doubly hit by the two hurricanes. And, with that said, I know that there's suffering all over the world. So my heart goes out to everyone, just sending so much love, so much beautiful energy and prayers and light to anyone who needs it. And if you're experiencing the need for that, or if you are on the other side where you're actually safe and well, I think the more the merrier. Like the more light we can send out to the world right now, the more love we can send out to the world right now, the better. Because we really need it right now, especially this is such an intense time astrologically, and as above so below. So there's just so many massive transitions going on in the sky and massive transitions going on in the earth and massive transitions going on inside of each and every one of us, even if we're not really feeling super conscious of it. So what I've been picking up lately is that we're a bit in the in between right now. um, we have gone through eclipse season and we're in a 6 month period before we enter the next set of eclipses. Eclipses bring fated change, we know that. And the 6 months between the eclipses are best used for building our lives, for cultivating more of what we want every single day to look like in our lives. There's a lot of people right now that are just getting by. They're like it's day to day. They're they're surviving. And that sometimes is how life is, right? Like sometimes you go through hard times. We know that Pluto teaches us that. You go through hardships. Uranus teaches us that. You go through crisis and you rebuild. And there is this energy of rebuilding. And for many, many people, as Pluto goes through the final decan, the 29-degree point of Capricorn, there will be more dismantling, either of their own choice or external, where in order to step into the new paradigm, in order to step into what you really want and what you really desire, and to be able to answer the question, why am I here? Why am I here? And what am I going to do about it? There has to be a destruction process. That's Pluto, that's Scorpio, of whatever that your soul has been talking to you about is no longer in alignment with the growth that you're being asked for. Pluto deals with the deepest truth. Pluto wants us to go as deep as possible into our own inner truth. It wants to dig beneath the layers of the subconscious to find the treasure that is the truth of our inner world, the truth of our soul. And my I imagine that for so many people, especially if you have a cardinal sign, so Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, Libra, in your sun, your moon, or your rising, you are going to feel the squeeze over the next month through the rest of October until November 19th. And normally, what happens when there's a very slow planet, Pluto takes over 200 years, over 200, I believe it's 248 years to make a full cycle. That is a slow planet. And when there's a slow planet, we feel it more intensely. So the rule of thumb is the slower the planet, the more intensely you feel it. That's why your Saturn return is intense, because it takes 29 years for Saturn to make a full cycle. Oh my God, 200 plus years. That is a lot of intensity. And Pluto works generationally. So there's a whole generation of people that are born under each Pluto sign, right? Okay, so we have right now 29 degrees. Pluto is in Capricorn. And so this is like the final song. This is it from 2008 when Pluto moved into Capricorn. So from 2008 to right now and up until November 19th, that's about it's about 2 months away. We have the rest of October and then November 19th to get that final like squeeze of the sponge, where if you've ever cleaned a really oily nasty pan and your sponge is black and full of grease and full of oil, and then you squeeze it out and you see that like nasty dripping sludge. I see that as this end of Pluto in Capricorn right now. Now Capricorn deals with, we all have Capricorn energy. So if you're looking at your chart and you're like, no, Shira, I don't have any Capricorn energy, I'm mostly mutable, or whatever it is, trust me, you are experiencing this energy because you're part of the collective force. So Capricorn in its highest state, the state that we want to have access to with Pluto, is I am in charge of my life. I understand that I have free will. I am not trapped in any sort of dogma. I am not trapped in any sort of societal program that's already been created. I am not trapped in the religion I was born into. I am not trapped in the family I was born into. I am not bound to any person, place, or thing. In the tarot, Capricorn is symbolized by the devil, and there are chains. And it's the chains that bind you to what is not your own personal truth. So Pluto is wanting truth. And right now we're having it's almost like a plunger, like the plunger, or like a, if you've ever had a really clogged sink and you've had to use a snake to get it out, or call in a plumber to use a snake to unclog your pipes. Literally, personal share, in this moment I'm having a plumber come over because the sink in our house is just completely clogged. When we turn the disposal on, it bubbles up and explodes black, disgusting water. And I'm like, of course, in these last 2 months of release, there's a clog, and the clog is being, we're becoming conscious of the clog and realizing that, okay, it's gonna take more work. We have to go deeper and we have to call in support. I cannot fix this clog by myself. Remove cannot, not interested. Someone else is a professional and I will call them in. I want that help. And so we might discover, some final layers that might feel like a clog to being in our sovereignty, to being in charge, to remembering that we have free will, and becoming really conscious of the ways that we hold ourselves back or are bound to either other people, other beliefs, to the illusions of our mind, like our past belief system, our negative thinking, where we think that something can't be done and then we bind ourselves to that belief when it is not even true. In these next 2 months, Pluto is really asking us to like squeeze out, release, become conscious of anything that is lurking beneath the surface, the cobwebs in the corner, of our brain. And it's never fun. maybe it's fun for you, but it's not like a joyful, like this is amazing. It doesn't necessarily feel super magical, but it is. Just like when a pimple is coming to the surface, you don't want that pimple to be there and you want to squeeze it. Maybe if you squeeze it too hard, too fast, you're going to leave a scar. So you have to let the energy, there's a little bit of surrender that wants to happen, allowing these things to come up, knowing that they're going to come up and out. The pimple wasn't made by Pluto, the pimple was inside. The pimple was already there, already building, just waiting to come to the surface. I don't wish pimples upon anyone, okay? That's not what we're going for. But what I will say is, I deeply feel this detoxification process, whether it's happening physically, emotionally, psychologically, in your spirit, there is a deep, deep cleansing happening with Pluto. Pluto really wants us to be tapped into the deepest reserves of our energy and our power. And oftentimes there's an alchemy, a transformation that wants to happen. And in order for that to happen, there has to be something that we let go of, something that we loosen our grip on and say, you know what, in my heart of hearts, I deeply know that this isn't aligned. I don't have to burn it all to the ground or cut all the cords, and I can move into the next chapter, the next aligned chapter in the way that works for me at this moment of my life, right? There's such a deep call for listening to your intuition, such a deep call for trusting what you know to be true, and becoming conscious of the way that sometimes the mind can trick you into um, settling or staying small and being okay with living at a lesser edge or a lesser growth than what your heart really wants. Jupiter, now going retrograde in Gemini, is going to impact that layer of our psyche. Jupiter asks us to expand, to be big, to take up space. And if that's something that we're not used to, we're just figuring out how to be authentic, how to speak our truth, how to stand in our power, how to set up really good boundaries from what is not worth our energy and time. Jupiter in Gemini retrograde is going to give us some extra energy and extra focus. Gemini, the mind, the channel of the mind, to allow us to expand. And Jupiter will be retrograde in Gemini all the way until February, the end of February of 2025. So there's a lot of time. And the reason I feel like we're in the in between is there's this overlapping energy. Pluto in its final months of Capricorn, clearing out any dynamics of power where we've given up our power, or where we're realizing that we could step into our power more, trust ourselves more, be more courageous with our life. Okay, so that's happening. Pluto now going direct through that final 29th degree, which is the degree of wisdom. It's the ultimate. You have been, you know now. That's the 29th degree. It's like, okay, you're aware, you're conscious. Now it's what would you like to do with that information? Well, at the same time, Jupiter is going retrograde. So Pluto's going direct, Jupiter is going retrograde. They're crisscrossing. At the same time, on the next week on Thursday, we're going to have an Aries full moon. Aries is about the self. It's about trusting yourself. It's about being fierce with your life. It's about cutting ties that are keeping you bound or keeping you held back when you want to go forward, when you want to expand, when you want to go into the unknown. That is Aries. Aries says, you know what? I'm going to be the fool in the tarot deck. The fool leaps into the unknown. It takes leaps of faith because they know that the universe is going to support them. And the way to access that support is by doing the thing, by actually doing it. Now, if you're listening to this and you're like cringing, you're like, oh God, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. If you're not ready, you're not ready. Okay, be exactly where you are. Trust the timing of your life. Trust what's unfolding. If you're teeter-tottering on the edge of it, what is the best case scenario if you took a step forward into the unknown? What is the absolute best case scenario? It is time. Jupiter in Gemini retrograde, meaning internal reflection of how our thoughts create our reality. Gemini, Jupiter expansion. We want to expand into our reality and we want to do it through our thoughts. It is time to train our minds to trust that we're going to have the best outcome possible. And if there are plot twists, we have to and get to trust that we are smart enough, that we are adaptable enough, that we are powerful enough to be able to handle that when the time comes. What is the absolute best scenario? What is the feeling that you will get on the other side? What is the feeling of expansion that you get to step into when you go one step towards the unknown? It might be something like sharing your truth about something you've been keeping inside for a really long time. It might be about being just brutally honest with yourself or with someone else or with your job or your friend or your partner. Pluto asks for truth. That means brutal honesty. Pluto really wants us to be honest and to know that we are powerful enough and capable enough to step into our next chapter, to live the lives that we deeply desire, and to listen to the call and the expansion of our soul. Pluto direct, Jupiter retrograde, full moon Aries asking for fierce faith, shraddha, faith in ourselves, faith in the universe, and courage. That's enough. I could give you more, and I think that's so much to chew on. I think it's plenty, and it really, there's a deep theme, and the deep theme is trust yourself. Trust yourself. I trust myself. Okay, I pulled an oracle card from the Keepers of the Light and I got Krishna devotion. Krishna devotion. Trust your spiritual guidance. Your commitment has been recognized and you are loved unconditionally. So Krishna is the Hindu god who embodies divine wisdom, one of India's best loved gods. Here is the message from Krishna. You have a deep spiritual connection and must trust the guidance that is coming through. Your devotion to the spiritual path has been recognized. It may feel as if you have been on a mental, emotional battlefield, but there are sweet messages of hope around you now. Krishna is here to boost your sense of connection to the divine and encourage you to act from your soul. If a decision needs to be made, ask yourself what will honor your soul and those around you. If you can choose the best for all involved, then you will feel even closer to the divine. This is a time where we are turning up the volume on our connection to our soul. So the practical guidance, especially with Saturn in Pisces right now, and that Saturn in Pisces asking us to every day put in that spiritual connection or connection to the divine, a connection to whatever you call God, is do your yoga, do your mantras, come take a Kundalini class, do your quick meditations or even be meditative. as you drive, as you talk to people, whatever it is that helps you ground and feel like you're connected. It might be writing, journaling, free writing, just writing whatever comes out. It might be singing, it might be taking a bath, it might be getting a massage. It's going to be different for each one of you, for each person who listens, because we're all just so unique. We're all figuring out what's best for us on our personal path. No one outside of us can tell us exactly what to do or what's best for us. That's the beauty of astrology, our uniqueness, and that's the beauty of this world. I love you so much. Stay grounded, stay spiritual, stay open hearted through all of these changes. Send light, love, and healing out to anyone who needs it. Thank you for being a beacon of light. Love you so much, and I will see you soon.